Hey, fellow babies, and welcome to the show. None other than Bill Gates himself once called
A couple of meanies always picking on me and making fun.
It's the 42 Show.
Hello and welcome everybody, and we got a packed barrel of news tonight with some drugged up fish, gravy gladiators, and Biden's brain cell has finally been transferred to a Tesla bot, and the Secret Service are in trouble. The news about the Cookie Monster, but first, you've been waiting for some good news. Well, this guy's been waiting for over 30 years for some good news. Take it away, Dick.
Yeah, so this cat here was in prison for 30 years for a killing that he always contended that he did not commit, and a Missouri judge on Monday overturned his conviction. So the ruling is likely to set Mr. Dunn free from prison, but it's not immediately clear when that would happen. How about right fucking now? Can you imagine? He had been serving a life sentence without parole. So St. Louis Circuit Judge Jason somebody or other's ruling came several weeks after he presided over a 3-day hearing on Dunn's fate. The dude's 52. He was convicted of first-degree murder in 1990 shooting of a 15-year-old. Now, there was a St. Louis circuit attorney that filed a motion in February seeking to vacate the guilty verdict, and the hearing was in May. So in the judge's ruling, he wrote that circuit attorney had made a clear and convincing showing of actual innocence that undermines the basis for Dunn's convictions because in light of the new evidence, no juror acting reasonably would have voted to find the man guilty of these crimes beyond a reasonable doubt. So Dunn's attorney is, saying that the whole team is just overjoyed with this finally happening. And dude, Chris Dunn is his name. He's looking forward to finally getting back to his family and whatnot. The Attorney General's office did oppose this because they said that the testimony from the two boys, because they were all like 15 at the time, it was a bit of a gang thing. They identified the Dunn as the shooter back then, but recanted as adults. Now, when they recanted, it was, we knew he was part of the rival gang, so we just put the finger on him. And now that we're adults, that's horrible. This can't be. So everybody's grown out of their gang life by the sounds of it, right? So
they should just swap places with those guys.
Yeah,
the innocent guys should go free, and those two should go in.
Totally. He should be fluffing the pillow waiting for those two, right? But there was a law adopted in Missouri in 2021 that let prosecutors request hearings when they see evidence of a wrongful conviction. So this is where this is coming from. There's another effort in St. Louis that resulted in Lamar Johnson being freed after 28 years for a murder case in which the judge ruled he was wrongfully convicted. Let's see here. And there's another one coming up as well. Let's see. This is one of those sites that changed the text a little bit when I opened it. So yeah, the prosecutor's office is still up in arms because they say these people are unreliable witnesses and so on. But Dunn has said he was at his mother's home during the shooting the whole time. And his girlfriend, Nicole Bailey, testified that she spoke with him by phone that night, and he was on the phone at his mother's house. But none of this mattered because two gangbangers pointed out one, and that was enough to get a conviction and make somebody look good in the press. So I like the fact that they're going back over some of these cases, especially because, let's face it, depending on where you live, a black guy being charged in the late 80s and 90s still didn't have a fair chance the way that somebody else would.
Yeah, no, I wasn't going to say anything, but I did notice he was black.
Fuck yeah, exactly. Might as well point it
out. I mean, do they get any compensation or anything? After this sort of thing happens.
Well, how do you give a guy 30 years back, right? He should be able to live for free.
Fucking money.
He should get $80,000 a year here. Just go and exist for the rest of your life. Sorry, we took a third of it from you.
Yeah. Well, that's if he lives that long.
Yeah. So, let's hope that justice is still being served during this, because 30 years later, there's also this big butt hanging in the air. Is somebody just now guilty because they put somebody away for 30 years so they recant their testimony? You know what I mean? Yeah. But I don't want to get into all that, right?
Yeah, it's pretty crappy.
Yeah, right. I'm just going to hold at face value that humanity came to the forefront, and here we go.
Yeah, talking about humanity. Wow, remember former President Donald Trump? You've heard of him, haven't you? Anyway, he's questioned whether or not the Republican Party should be reimbursed for fraud. That's kind of ironic, isn't it? The pot calling the kettle black. For the resources and money it spent campaigning against President Joe Biden. He says, so we are forced to spend time and money on fighting crooked Joe Biden. He polls badly after a terrible debate and quits the race. Now we have to start all over again. Or maybe you should have done an argument about policy.
Right.
Shouldn't the Republican Party be reimbursed for fraud in that everybody around Joe, including his doctors and the fake news media, knew he was not capable for running for or being president? Just asking, he added.
Everybody that sees a different side to the world than this guy is conflicted, corrupt, a criminal. But he's the one that's got the convictions.
Yeah, I know. Talk about diversion. So in a letter posted on X, Mr. Biden said it had been the greatest honor of my life to be president. He said he would address the nation later this week. Maybe he'll be coming on the end of the show. Keep a spot open just in case he shows up. Well, it has been my intention to seek re-election. I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term. I can't imagine Trump doing that sort of thing. Step down for the good of the country.
No, if that man gets office again, he will have to be dragged out as a corpse to get him out of the Oval Office.
Oh, please.
But,
I shouldn't say that.
Yeah. But it's that bad, right? It's that bad. So now there's people on the internet that are talking about this next article as if it's a good thing. This is funny. So Google has for a while now been saying that they were going to get rid of cookies. And cookies are, the things in your web browser that let all these companies track us and know what's going on. Now, after years of indecision and going back and forth, Google finally said that they're not going to pursue its plan to cut off support for third-party cookies in Chrome. Instead, they're going to play up other options that would hand more control of privacy and tracking to Chrome users. Now, a lot of people are saying this is a win. This is a win. And on the face of it, it sounds like a win because Chrome will be more like Safari and Mozilla Firefox and be much more respectful. And Google's plan to get rid of cookies was guaranteed to make it so only Google was going to completely be able to track you, right? So now that they've said they've relented, one is that they've bowed to big business pressure because cookies make other people money as well. But number two, do you think that their new way of tracking you is not going to be built into Chrome by default now so that A, they can leave cookies on so that they can make money off other people making money off your shit, but they will still collect it more than anyone in their still doing this internal tracking thing? For one, I know it's going to be that way. And the thing that sucks is for us doing this live stream and whatnot, and so many other people out there, Chrome has become such a de facto standard web browser that some of the goddamn services we use to run this show run shitty on other browsers.
Yeah, they kind of lock us into it.
Yeah.
So
if you think this is a win, it's not. What happened was Google themselves would have been the ones that track us the most under the no cookies thing. But now they've left cookies open. So you're going to have to navigate preferences and do all that crap that nobody does to turn the crap off, or you're just an open wallet still. So this is
there is going to be a way.
Hmm?
There is going to be a way for you to switch it off. Is that if you pay for the Chrome subscription service?
Yeah. Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. Right. I do want to point out, I just got to scroll to the end. Where is it here? Sorry everybody, but this whole thing of like blocking cookies and stuff, it's kind of a joke because you've been able to do that on like an Apple computer with the Safari web browser since like what, 2014. There are ways to protect yourself. Get Mozilla Firefox and so on. Now, there's going to be times when that browser doesn't work the best, so you're still going to have to pull Chrome out. But Chrome should be that one that you go, shit, I got to use it. Just, little piece of advice if you want to own your digital history and not just give it away to everybody. Where are you next here?
Ooh.
Oh God, yeah.
We're in the thick of it. Yeah, so we just a few weeks to go until the 16th annual World Gravy.
Sorry, everybody, but this is not about the American election as much as it looks that way.
Harris 2024. There she is, taking Trump down.
Exactly. That's a Scarlett Johansson Black Widow move in action, right? She won the election with 2 falls and half Nelson. So the World Gravy Wrestling Championship bosses have put out a plea for the Bisto living Hulk Hogan types to compete in the event. The drought of gravy gladiators weeks before the 16th run of the annual event has left organizers scratching their heads. One of the contest bosses, Andy Holt, has issued a desperate appeal for beefcakes to roll around in the meat juice. This is journalism. Andy said it's not about serious wrestling. Really? Really, it's not about serious wrestling. It's just about having fun. We are struggling a bit for competitors this year for some strange reason. Probably they've all gone vegan. Did they not advertise in the fetish mags? What's going on here?
What is in a box of Bisto? I don't know. But the tournament is set to be held on August 26th at the Rose and Bowl pub in Stacks Head, Rossendale, Lancashire. It raises cash for the East Lancashire Hospice, with participants wrestling in fancy dress in a pool filled with gravy. Their 2-minute bouts have attracted hundreds of spectators in the past. Hundreds! The 15th WGWCs was also hosted at the Rose and Bowl, with 16 male and 8 female contestants facing each other off. Oh, female ones, eh? Female in gravy.
Come on, Paul, let's go watch them splash around the gravy.
There's hundreds of spectators, along with the crowd pleasing
counting the
antics.
birds up on the electric pole or something.
Along with the crowd pleasing antics, judges awarded points for the quality of fancy dress and comedy effect. Referee will be on hand to ensure a fair fight, with hundreds of litres of gravy poured into the pool throughout the day. Oh, sounds horrible.
Do they keep it warm? Does it start congealing? This is so wrong.
It's horrible. Bosses warn wrestlers all contestants must wear fancy dress. In previous years, we've had let down by people entering and not turning up on the day. This makes it very difficult to organise the event. So we ask for a £10 refundable deposit to try to deter this. 10 whole pounds.
Wow. Gravy must be cheap.
Serious aggressiveness, roughness, or unsportsmanlike conduct will result in disqualification. Anyone who appears to be under the influence of alcohol will also be disqualified. Then they host it at a pub. Brilliant.
Giving up the old tea bag with a gravy sack. Yeah.
Or they also say, please remember that this is a family day with children in attendance, so lewd behaviour is not permitted. So why are you holding it in a pub?
I don't understand. Yeah, there's so much wrong with that. It's not funny.
But there's still time for you to enter. So if you're up in Lancashire, put your entry in. Just go in a Shills t-shirt. There we go.
Yeah. And exact. Do it in a Shills t-shirt. This one here is not wrestling in gravy, although she is looking for a job, so it could be on the radar.
She is wrestling in the shit at the minute.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the embattled director of the U.S. Secret Service. Well, it was because she resigned from her post one day after lawmakers on both sides of the political aisle eviscerated her over the agency's failure to stop attempted assassination of, Orange Juice Boy. She says, I take full responsibility for the security lapse. In light of recent events, it is with a heavy heart that I have made the difficult decision to bug out and get the hell out of Dodge. Her name is Cheadle, an agency veteran appointed to her role a couple years ago, faced bipartisan condemnation. Thank you very much. After declining to answer most of the questions from the House Oversight Committee in their whole session there, several Republican and Democratic lawmakers demanded her resignation after pummeling her with questions about competency, both hers and the agency's. The Secret Service, they've been doing this for 100 years now, hasn't faced an intense crisis after the reports about how it failed so badly. They were warned. She wouldn't answer specific things about anything in this grilling either. Republican James Cormer, chair of the Oversight Committee, said the Secret Service has a no-fail mission, yet it failed historically on Director Cheadle's watch. At yesterday's Oversight Committee hearing there, Director Cheadle instilled no confidence that she has the ability to ensure the Secret Service can meet its protective mission. We continued, Cheadle's resignation is a step toward accountability, but we need a full review of how these security failures happen so that we can prevent them going forward. So there's 200 people that now have a job for a year when you could just simply get somebody to run it properly and kick some ass. Anyway, they're going to create a bipartisan task force to investigate this and see, how it really happened.
Oh, that's going to work out well.
It's just an ungodly waste of time. If you go back to the JFK assassination, the person running the Secret Service then kept their job and completely revamped the agency, and it became, the good thing it has been mostly, right? It really does its job very well. And clearing house, because maybe there's just been before, like she's only been there 2 years. Well, there could have been 10 years of historically bad hires of just lazy jerk assholes that got fired from being cops or something. And you know what I mean? Who knows, right? It sounds like it's a very to the core cultural issue where people were going, oh, look at this person. And then like, yeah, beat it. Sorry, I'm busy, polishing my gun. So
let's put Clint Eastwood in charge. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, man. Even, in old Clint Eastwood form, he could still run beside that car pretty good.
Yeah. Getting too old for this shit.
Well, when you get too old for this stuff, what you need is a well-stuffed retirement fund.
Yeah, just a job that just pays really, really, really well. Yeah, so Consorcio Industrial de Alimentos, Kyle, a company which produces cold-cut meats in Chile, sent a payment of 165,398,851 Chilean pesos, or 177,000 dollars, to one of their employees instead of the usual salary of 500,000 pesos. Needless to say, it was quite the pay rise. Kyle attempted to rectify the situation after Human Resources Department spotted the banking error, and the employee. And the employee, who has not been named, agreed to go to his bank the next morning to sort out the repayment. I promise.
Sure, he did.
But when the next day came, the man did not show up to work, and his employers were unable to contact him, despite their repeated efforts via call, text, and WhatsApp. He was never heard from directly again, though he did have a lawyer get in touch to say he'd officially resigned from his position.
Well, the dollar values in like dollars is like 170,000, and he was supposed to get 500.
Yeah.
Like, holy man.
Yeah, that's mad. Where was I? But apparently Kyle, the company, wasn't going to go down without a fight and launched a legal action against their former staffer to try and get the money back. He was informed and clarified that the money did not correspond to the payment of any service, Chilean legal documents claim. The company accused the employee of misappropriation of funds with the hope of recovering some of the lost money. 6 months on from the initial payment, however, the police had failed to locate the former employee.
Yeah.
For all we know, he's just laying low in a 5-star hotel, sipping on a cocktail.
Judge me if you can.
Mind you, that money's going to run out. I don't know what the cost of living like is in Chile, but I'm sure even $176,000 isn't going to keep you going for long.
If you 176,000 American dollars in Chile should be able to buy you a cool little pad and, you know, let you live an okay, if not extravagant life, I would think. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Totally. Although he's probably not in Chile anymore. Let's face it, right? You know,
He's going to somewhere cheap.
Yeah,
couldn't afford to go to America.
Yeah. He'd come to Canada if he was smart. Fucking be like $1 million up here. So, here, modern steering wheel, Volkswagen car. Look at all the buttons on the steering wheel. Funny enough, they're not buttons. It's those stupid, cheap-ass capacitive touch things. So, these have got to be the worst new trend in cars, right? I mean, you can see the company likes it because you get a slick look. The designer is happy. And the company, I mean, that entire panel of those damn haptic touch buttons is probably the value of one decent switch, right? So the accountants love it, but they suck. They only require the slightest touches to register a button push. So look at it this way here. You got a multifunction steering wheel like the one we're looking at, and the left side, the right. So if you're, I jumped ahead there because a damn ad popped up into me and screwed it all up. So let's say you're in a parking lot and you're just kind of swinging the wheel to get in. Well, if you brush those buttons and activate something, let's say you brush one on the right side, it'll mess with the audio system, but you know, not a big deal. But if you brush the ones on the left side of this specific Volkswagen, the ID4 electric thing, that's where all the cruise control and adaptive stuff in. So you could literally hit the resume button and it would re-engage, 50 miles an hour. And meanwhile, you're in a parking lot. And this seems to be happening quite a bit. There is more and more reports building up online of ID4 Volkswagen customers who seem to be having low-speed crashes, mostly in parking lots. Some of them are even resulting in injuries and stuff, right? And, one customer had to replace a battery pack, a few others, major damages and stuff, right? And it seems to be that the online community is starting to figure out that what's going on is the angle of those side things on the wheel come up too much to where you're brushing it with your hand as you're doing the palming the wheel tight turn thing and stuff. So, now, the National Highway Transport Safety Association in the United States has multiple reports of this in the database, but they're not doing anything about it yet. But VW has already done something about this. So the head of VW passenger cars, Thomas somebody or else, announced that due to overwhelming customer feedback, we're bringing back real buttons on the steering wheel because that's what customers want. Right?
I thought you were going to say they're going to put a cover over it.
Yeah. They'll put a screw in it like the Tesla Cybertruck pedal. But here's the second part. Swedish publication something or other, crazy name, has proved that buttons beat touchscreens in cars, and they've done the research and they have the study now. So this is talking mostly about touchscreen interfaces, but it pertains to buttons you can't feel, that you have to look at to know you're hitting them as well. And they tested 11 cars alongside a 2005 Volvo C70, timing how long it took people to perform a list of tasks, turning on the seat heater, cabin temperature, defroster, adjusting the radio, and resetting the trip counter, and dimming the instruments. And the old Volvo with real buttons was by far the car that they adapted to the quickest and could do the tasks far easier and quicker in. And it's been shown repeatedly that moving all of this stuff to the touchscreen is actually a bad idea. So we have research proof, and we also have proof that these stupid touchscreen controls on the wheel are terrible too. Stop getting cheap and cheaping out and trying to sell it to us as a feature. You damn well know better, all of you. You know,
you tell them, Dick.
Any car, I've been driving for years, right? I was born in 1970. Any car I buy, within like a week, I have the muscle memory where I can just reach over without looking and adjust the heater, air conditioning, or whatever. New cars with a touchscreen, not going to happen. You gotta look over. You gotta look over. You don't even have a speedometer and stuff in front of, in some of these damn cars now. It's over in the center. Why? Because they can make the right-hand drive version a lot cheaper. There's nothing to fucking move but the other shit, right? It's all a scam.
It'd be like a Adobe Photoshop. Every time you update Adobe Photoshop, they move all the tools around and they're all somewhere else. You can imagine that, you know, with your touch screen. Oh, we've updated it.
Tesla
Where's
does
it all
this.
gone?
Yeah, Tesla does this. All of a sudden, it's different. You're like, well, I don't even know where and before you know it, you've just ate the ass end of a semi. You know. Anyway, ridiculous. I'm getting ranty, so we'll move on to Dunk's next one here.
Oh, whoa, what am I going to rant about? Oh, yeah, because in a museum, an artist took a historical coin from its display case in the British Museum and deposited it in the donation box at the museum's lobby as part of an art project.
That's an artist. What they do.
Yeah, I'll come back to that in a minute. But less than a year after hundreds of items were found to have been gone missing from the museum, last month, the Brazilian conceptual artist Liz Tues swapped an English Civil War coin for a fake as part of a project highlighting the large number of foreign objects in the British Museum holds. Sartuzi said the idea came to him when he saw a museum volunteer handing visitors coins to handle. He asked for the 17th century silver coin because it's one of the few British things in the British Museum, that's in quotes, and created a diversion while he swapped it for a fake one. He then deposited the original coin in the collection box on the way out. Now, those collection boxes full of coins, I wonder if they just go to like one of those machines where they just dump the coins in and, you know, find out how much they got. And anything that just doesn't match, it just gets chucked into a bin.
Yeah.
There goes history. But
fucking pesos again.
Sartuzi filmed the entire act and recounted it in a video made for his master's degree at Goldsmiths University of London. What a genius. And he said he had planned the stunt for more than a year. The video, filmed by 3 friends of the artist, showed him being caught by a volunteer guide before successfully attempting the theft again the next day. Starzuzi said he shaved his beard to avoid being recognized by museum security and was able to swap the coins with the aid of a momentary diversion. Look, a baby wolf. The British Museum said it would inform the police about the incident. Went to the newspapers first, obviously. This was a disappointing and derivative act that abuses a volunteer-led service aimed at giving visitors the opportunity to handle real items and engage with history. Yes, you won't be able to, handle any cock anymore. Services like this rely on the basic level of human decency and trust, and it would be a shame to have to review the provision of these services due to these actions. Yeah, that's a good point. I think they might have to just take that kind of thing away, which is kind of a shame, really.
Conceptual artist That's French. It actually translates to public nuisance.
A wanker. Sartusi said institutions such as the British Museum and France's Louvre viewed themselves as holders of treasures of humanity, adding the problem is that these institutions are the basis of imperialistic cultures that looted a lot of these objects from the global south and the world. Actually, they took it from countries who didn't give a fuck about the stuff.
They were literally like, drop a bottle of that awesome scotch, man, and you can have it. We don't give a shit.
Yeah.
It's just garbage,
Yeah, I know. Oh, now they want it back. But okay. I know about the Elgins and all that kind of stuff. No, don't moan at me, but yeah. But what a stupid little sod little git.
Yeah. These guys that do this kind of stuff really get on my nerves because there's like real issues in life to deal with. We don't need to, have the world come to a stop for a few days because of your punk ass.
Oh, but it's art, Dick. It's art.
Yeah. And
I can't nail my wall. It's not art, so shut up.
Well, speaking of nailed to the wall, we got this idiot. Yeah. So European Union's foreign policy chief Joseph Borrell has stripped Hungary of the right to host the next meeting of foreign and defense ministers over its stance on the war in Ukraine. It comes weeks after this idiot, who assumed the rotating presidency of the council, so he should get the host, right? And it was going to be, where is it? Budapest, I guess, right? And Mr. Borrell said Hungary's actions over the meeting with Putler and whatnot in Moscow should have consequences, and that we have to send a signal, even if it's symbolic, right? Hungary described it as childish. So, yeah, if you don't know, every 6 months under each new council presidency, the EU foreign and defense ministers hold informal meetings to discuss biggest global issues facing the bloc. The next set of meetings will take place 28th to 30th of August. We're going to be held in Budapest. Yeah, okay. But Monday, Borrell said not a chance, and they're going to be in Brussels instead. So Orban accused the EU of having a pro-war policy. And if you want to talk about the war party, Borrell said, you got to talk about Putin. And he said, I can say all member states, with one single exception, are very much critical about this behavior. And he thinks it's appropriate to show this feeling. Call for the next Foreign and Defense Council meetings in Brussels. So 26 other countries in the EU, only Slovakia backed Hungary in this dispute. Of course.
I know of a venue. I mean, they're talking about sorting this out in Brussels, but I know a venue that's really, really good for sorting these problems out. Let me just get to it, because basically you have to be in where is it? Stags Head, Rossendale, Lancashire, for the 15th WGWC's Gravy Wrestling Contest. And just sort it all out there. It's a win-win. You sort out the problems in a big fight in Gravy, and and they get their
but Putler and Orban would show up naked wearing gimp masks, right? Well,
it's got to be in fancy dress. Or you get disqualified.
Yeah, I guess that would count as fancy. Let's see. So anyway, you knew it before, you know it now as well. He's an asshole.
Yes, talking of assholes.
Well, I think Sharksky had a bit too much fun on vacation.
Yeah, because sharks in the waters off the coast of Brazil have tested positive for cocaine, scientists say. Researchers have long suggested that sea life could be impacted by drugs dumped into the water by smugglers, with tons of cocaine found around Florida, South and Central America. Maybe they just bought it themselves, A study from the Oswaldo Cruz Foundation in Brazil has now found evidence that sharks are in fact being affected by drugs polluting the ocean.
Wow, that's not a good thing, man.
Well, they were chased down by sniffer dogfish, weren't they? So The scientists dissected 13 wild Brazilian sharp-nosed sharks that were bought from a small fishing vessels, as the species spend their entire lives in coastal waters and were therefore most likely affected by pollution. Muscle and liver tissue were tested using a standard technique called liquid chromatography with a tandem mass spectrometry, where molecules are separated into liquid to look for cocaine and benzo something in gene.
Wow, these guys are desperate to find some. That's a lot of work.
I know. Just buy it.
You just crawl through the carpet to look at what you dropped, right?
But all 13 sharks were positive for the drug, with a concentration of as much as 100 times higher than previously reported for aquatic creatures. God, they were doped up. My God.
Yeah.
It marks the first study to find presence of a cocaine in free-range sharks, and found the substance more prevalent in muscle tissue than in sharks' livers. However, the study said the field of research was very limited, and the impact of cocaine on aquatic life is not fully known. But what's it like eating a shark that's stuffed full of cocaine? Does it make them very Moorish?
Well, I think it just makes those at the table talk a lot faster.
This shark is delicious. I want more.
Yeah. And all the women at the table are beautiful.
So they don't need to test these sharks. I mean, have you seen? You just got to look in their eyes.
Yeah,
you can tell.
Yeah.
They're all doped up.
Yeah, he got $250 in his flipper. He's probably trying to find himself a ball, man. A couple of shout outs before we get the hell out of here. We got Blonde Bombsheller in. It says welcome to Shill Apprentice, but I'm pretty sure that's a renewal notice because Blonde Bombsheller has been a member here before. So, but thank you again. Thank you. And we've got Petra Olsen comes in with 129 Swedish kronor super chat there with love to Ukraine. Great shout out. Look at this. The clock is ticking. We only have seconds. It's perfectly timed. You'd swear to God we've done this before.
Not like this.
4,
5,
3,
2,
2,
1, 2.
Thanks to the team and the credits and everything. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Don't pull your junk out in public. You're bound to get arrested. Don't ask me how I know.
Not again.
Oh, God.